Hi guys, I'm going to show you guys how to replace a iPhone 4S LCD screen. The reason I'm doing this video is because I find a lot of videos out there don't explain the little things involved in doing them, as well as just a few little tricks that I find are quite useful to know how to pull these apart. Alright, let's get started. First of all, you will get your LCD. When it comes to the mail, it should come with some little adhesive sticky pieces, as well as a few screwdrivers to do it. Now, first things first is if you've got a little magnet of the fridge or something, I've got this little magnet, run it up screwdrivers to make them magnetic. This will help quite a fair bit in the repair. First, there's two screws on the bottom of the phone here. Make sure the phone is switched off as well before doing this. Best off having it turned off. Alright, it's two screws on the bottom. Alright, just slide it up and then take it off. This back will now come off. Alright, so you see I'll bring it up close so you can have a look. I'll just get it focused. Alright, there you got the phone. Alright, now there's little screws that we're going to be wanting to pull out. We've got 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, sorry, 4 screws there. We'll have another one there. We've got this little plate to pull out. But first things first, we've got to take out the battery. So the battery is right here, these two little screws. The battery, this one we'll need a Phillips screwdriver for. We'll just do it. Now, just one thing with all the screws is they're pretty much all different, so you want to keep track of which ones, go where. So we've got a little spudger, we've undone this screw and this screw. Now we want to just lift it up and be very careful here. You don't want to go, damaging anything. Now there is this little tiny, I'm going to zoom up. We can see it. This little guy in here, this little gold thing, he kind of sits under there. I think it's part of the antenna. However, be careful when you pop the battery out, this thing will come out. So we've got to be very careful we don't lose that because we will need it. So a good way to get the battery is just going from the corners and slowly pry it up and take it out like that. Alright, now there is a tag to pull the battery out now. So we just pull this tag up. Now sometimes these will be really stuck down really tight. So you don't want to go ripping too hard because you'll rip the plastic here off. You want to just kind of pry it out with a screwdriver or something without watching out you don't damage the motherboard in here. So just a little trick. Alright, so we've got a screw here to undo, under here, here, here. Now keep these ones in order because they are all different. Okay, so you just want to make sure you undo them all in order. And when all these screws are off, you've got to be very careful when you take out this plate. It's in here, it's kind of sitting in front of this little ribbon cable. So when you pull it out, you don't want to rip the ribbon cable. So my advice is to just kind of get under it here, kind of lift it out a little bit, and then just pull it out. Next step is to take these two screws off. So there'll be a screw right here, a screw right here. There's this little plate. Now again, keep the screws in order, which one's which, because they only go in a certain way. You get this metal plate that comes off, we'll just pop that up there. Next step, we'll see this little screw here we want to undo this guy. This thing will pop out as well, I'll show you. So this guy here, I'll just make sure we're focused. He just pops out. Like that. This part here is a little bit delicate, so you don't want to go doing too much, just too much you know, ripping and pulling and whatnot. You've got all these little ribbon cables to undo off the motherboard. One of them's for the camera. You've got ones for the lock buttons and volume buttons and everything like that. So the first one to start with, I would say, would be this very end one here. You can kind of do them in sequence. So we just get this little pry tool, the plastic pry tool, put under, pop it up, so it comes off. One. Then there's one actually underneath that as well. So we want to pop the one underneath it up. It's two. Now you want to pop then the one next to it, this one here. Just find a good spot. Now this shouldn't be hard to get them up, alright? Now if it's hard, stop what you're doing and try a different way, because you don't want to go damaging the board or anything like that. That's three off, right? And then you've got your LCD screen ones here. You've got two. Now this one is over the top of this one, right? So what you want to do is undo the top one first, this one here, and then you want to get under here and do the next one. You can just bend these back like that. Now last one was the camera. The camera sitting in there. You just get under here, you take that and you actually take the camera out. So that's the camera. And just put him to the side somewhere where you know you'll see. Okay. Now next one to do now that they're all unplugged is to do the power one. The power one's this one here. So this one you got to be pretty careful with. Now I tend to find the best way to do is just to get under here, pop it up like that. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky. This part, it's not too bad, but it's all adhesived down here, so you won't be able to. If you're not careful, you'll rip the cable and you have to replace the cable here. Now they're not expensive. You know, they're about $6 or something. However, they're certainly a bit of a hassle. You know, if you haven't got the part and you break it, then you've got to wait longer to repair it. So best way to do is just to slowly, surely peel it up. Now I've actually replaced this screen before. This is my friend's phone and he's dropped it and broken it again. So I'm redoing it. So this time it was a little bit easier to come up. As you saw, it'll just pop up really easy. However, if you're doing it for the first time, it will be quite stuck down. Same with the battery. So the battery came out easily, you'll probably have a lot more trouble getting that out. But just be patient. One thing about these, you always got to be patient. These little white dots here, there's one of the water sensors. If that's red, it's been wet. So if it's white, you're all good. Okay. Another thing to unclip as well. Here we've got the antenna. This is a little antenna cable that runs down here. So we just want to get this under here, pop him up. He'll unclip. And then you just want to peel him around like that so he stays there. Like so. To undo some more screws for the motherboard. So here, right up in the corner here, underneath the ribbon, you've got a little screw in there. You've got one there, it's the flathead. You've got one up here. Yep. And you've got, you've actually got one under this little rubber grommet, so you've got to be careful there, you've got to remember that. You've got another little flathead up here, so I'll start up the top and I'll work my way down. So after we took out the screw here, you've got to get a screw under here. So this has got this little black little... Alright, so we pulled off this little black rubber guy. There he is. And he went over this screw in there. If you can see it, right up in the corner. Now, very important to get him off. I've forgotten to do him in the past, so you're thinking, why isn't this board coming in? You know why. So the next bit is to undo this screw. Next one's screws in the middle there. Next one we've got is in there. Take that one out. And the last one is another funny little one. It's this one down here. It's a little flat head. It's another one that a screws into. Last thing I want to mention is this one here. There's this little tiny little cable thing that you want to just unplug like that. So it comes off, alright. Now the motherboard is free to come out. So the best way to do it is just to go from the bottom, just lift it up, this, and just slowly pry it out. Now, this is where there's a lot of videos on this, and they don't really talk to you. So the motherboard's out, right? Now you got to be careful. I'm going to put this to one side, right? And just do this. Now there's this little piece here. Okay. Now this piece here is pretty important. He's come out. I'll show you where he's come out. Just put him to one side. I spent hours trying to figure out where this guy went back when I was putting back the phone because no one ever covered it. So he goes here. He's behind the camera, so he actually sits underneath the board, the motherboard screw. He comes out here and his little prongs sit on the back of the camera, the back camera there. So I'll show you how to put him back in later on. It's a bit tricky, but you need a pair of tweezers, but I'll show you how to get him back in. There's also one other thing on the motherboard. It might come off when you take the motherboard out. There's this rubber piece and it sits right on there. Okay, so you want to make sure he's still there. Now next step, guys, is to take out the is to take out the vibrating motor. Now if we get our little flat end screwdriver, this is our vibrating motor here. If you just want to get under it and slowly twist back and forth like this, and he'll slowly peel up until he pops out. There's one down here. There's one up here, so taking out the speaker box. And this one up here has got this like little triangular pizza piece that sits in there. So we'll start with this one here. I'll just take out this screw. So you see this tiny little pizza wedge. You want to keep him as well. Now to pull it out, you just grab it here, just slowly slide it up. She'll pop out quite easily, that. I'll just pop it to one side for now. Yeah, that's pretty much taken out most of the insides in it. Now it's just to get out the screen and you know, do the screen replacement. So yeah, there's to do that there is 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 screws from here to get out to get the screen out. There's one up here in the corner. There's one here in this corner. One here down in this corner. One here in this corner, and there's 1, 2, 3, and there's 1, 2, 3 screws as well on either side. Now I'll start with taking out the corner screws. Alright, so now that we've undone the 4 screws, one there, one in the corner there, one down there, and one in there, we want to take out the other 6. So there's 3 on the side here, and there's another 3. You can see them in there as well. So now people always say you should undo these and take them out. Now I kind of disagree. I found this little neat trick because they're actually really hard to put back in because there's this little washer there underneath the screw. So what I like to do, I like to just undo them, you know, just slightly, just loosen them off, maybe, you know, a revolution. Just go around 1 revolution, just loosen it off. So, you know, and leave them there. The reason is because you can get the screen out with just loosening them out, and then you don't have to spend, you know, an hour putting these screws back in because they're very difficult to put back in. So we'll just do it. Now this little thing here, probably better off bending inwards when you've done this side screws, just so you can get the screwdriver over it so it doesn't, you know, wreck anything. So yeah, about a revolution, maybe a little bit less depending on how tight they are. Now from here, to get the screen out, all we got to use is our little spudgy tool. So you can use whatever, if, you know, like a guitar pick, something like that, whatever kind of works to get in the side, but you kind of get it in the side there, and you pull it up like so. You got to watch these cables, kind of bend them back a little bit. Now again, Mine was easy to get undo. Yours is going to be stuck around. There's going to be adhesive tape all around here, or just the bottom and top. Now, yeah, so next step, this will be all, there'll be all this adhesive tape here. Now, depending on how sticky it is, if it's not sticky anymore, I suggest you replace it. They should have sent you a replacement with your screen. It looks something like this. So, if that's the case, clean it all up, peel away all the adhesive tape, and then re-stick the new ones down. Now, you'll notice one thing too, on the old screen, the broken screen, up the top here, now you got your little grid that's in that little spot. Now, best way to do it is just to take it out, peel it out, and actually pop it down onto here. That's the easiest way to replace that. Otherwise, if you're trying to put it down onto your new screen, it's a real drama. But just stick it on there. It's nice and simple, and you don't have to worry about it from here on out.